Kyle Larson, only 8 before him, have ever won 4.
Oh, he's got a flat tire. The left front tire's flat.
Kyle Larson in the wall. Bowman's going to get by him.
Unbelievable.
Kind of in shock. I don't know what to say to you guys. I hate to win one that way, but hell yeah, I'll take it.
Hamlin and Kyle Busch, they crossed the start-finish line. 2 laps to go.
Kyle Busch, keep saying it, had a lap more fuel, hit it a lap later than Denny Hamlin.
Denny is sitting there part throttle down here into turn 3. Kyle Busch going to the outside.
Here we go.
Kyle Busch needs to back it way up.
11's coming to pit road, so Kyle Busch now takes over the lead, taking the white flag.
One more white flag. Saving.
Can he make it all the way? Kyle Busch, what a day he's had, and still under power.
Still out. We got
Unbelievable.
it. Yeah.
Kyle Busch is going to win at Pocono.
Say what you want about fuel mileage races, but that was entertaining to me. That was exciting all the way to the end.
What a crazy Pocono weekend, everyone. Welcome to NASCAR America Motormouths. Marty Snyder, the Hall of Famer, Dale Jarrett, Jeff Burton joining you here today. Also on the show with us, Michael McDowell, 2 top 20 finishes for him at Pocono. Justin Allgaier, a doubleheader just all in one day for Justin Allgaier. And Harrison Burton will join us a little bit later as well. And of course, we want to hear from you guys, 844 NASCAR NBC. Also at the hashtag Let Me Say This. So guys, if I would have told you going into the weekend that we would have a pass on the last lap in one race and a pass on the next to the last lap in another race, I'm sure you wouldn't have believed me. But which win was more improbable? Hall of Famers first. Alex Bowman on Saturday or Kyle Busch on Sunday with just 4th gear?
Oh my gosh, that's such a toss-up. I mean, both so unexpected. What Kyle Busch was able to do, Alex Bowman was there. He drove a really good race. He made Kyle Larson really work hard on Saturday to get around him and take the lead away from him. So he was in position to take advantage of that. I thought when Kyle Busch started having his problems that he was gone, that there was no chance. Even if the thing went green, I thought that somebody else was going to be able to make it, and he wasn't going to be able to pull this off. So I'm going to go on the Kyle Busch side.
That's a hard question.
I thought I'd throw you a curveball right off the bat, Jeff.
I mean, you could go either way. Since you went Kyle Busch, I'll go the other way. Just because so it's fun. I think that the thing I liked about the Larson-Bowman battle is I think Alex Bowman isn't given enough credit for putting himself in position to win. He took the lead, on the restart. He chose the bottom, did what nobody else was willing to do, took the bottom and took the lead, and then made Kyle Larson the best driver in the sport right now, driving for the best team in the sport right now, made him get by him. And Larson had to work his guts out to get by him. So, clearly Alex Bowman had some luck on his side, but he earned the win because of the position he put himself in. And I like those moments. I love seeing a driver, I love seeing a basketball player, a baseball player step up at that moment, and that's what I thought Alex Bowman did on that last restart.
Yeah, he's become the new closer.
Yeah, and you had to sit and wonder after the fact that was there something about everything that he was making Kyle Larson try to do to try to pass him and taking some different lines, run the car a little harder at times, maybe apply a little bit more brake, get up on the curbing over there at the tunnel, turn a little bit more. Did any of that factor in to the problem that Kyle Larson had there? So Alex Bowman did a terrific job.
And so I want to have this conversation with a Hall of Famer. So we're stuck in this thing about thinking great racing has to be side by side. I think that's a bunch of junk. The racing we saw with Kyle Larson and Alex Bowman was only side by side for half the lap. It was the 10 laps that Larson had to figure out how to get by him, and what they each were doing that is fascinating. That's what makes, from being in a car, that's what makes driving a race car fun, right? It's not the side by side, it's all of this.
Yeah.
The gamesmanship, the skill that it takes to do those things. We got to see an incredible race with 2 really good race car drivers with all on the line. That's what racing is. It doesn't have to be side by side to have a good race. And that race on Saturday was fulfilled me as much as I could possibly be in regard to sports, because it was two guys going at it.
Yeah.
And it's not, side by side is not required.
But I'll say the key, and I think you agree with me, DJ, is the insight that you guys are giving as it's going on to say, here's what everybody's thinking. Because when you have that driver perspective, that's the key, because there's a lot going into that. It's not just a guy trying to figure out the right time. There's a lot that went into the 14 laps it took for him to finally get by the 48 car.
Yeah, and you could see the two driving styles drastically different, but both getting the job done. Alex Bowman out front at times, and he changed up where he would enter the corner and where he was in the middle of the corner. So it made Kyle Larson not know exactly what he was going to have to do. And I will have to say that sometimes I'm not a huge fan of going to the in-car camera for a lengthy period of time, especially when we have a battle. But to watch Kyle Larson the other day was fascinating to me, to watch this young man drive this car at such a high speed, and the way that he was using the throttle and how quickly he was getting back to the gas in comparison to the way Alex Bowman was driving his car was just incredible to watch. And you know, we're talking about, as you pointed out, that Kyle Larson right now, the best in the business, doing all this, and we were getting to see from inside his car how he was making this happen and how he was going about making this pass.
We've both been in the situation where there's a guy chasing us down, or we're chasing the guy down, and you have exposed your weakness to him.
Yes.
You know it, and he knows it. And now you got to do something different. He knows you got to do it. You know you got to do it. You know he sees it. He's going to do something different because what you just showed him. That's the things that's great about driving a race car.
Yeah.
It's you don't drive the corner the same way every lap. It's a changing game all the time. As tires wear out, as your opponents bring something, you got to do something different. And that was just a great opportunity to see it happen with a win on the line. It was just fun. I mean, it was just fun to see
And then
two
as
guys.
teammates, you know that when you're racing your teammate, he has every single thing that you have. Every bit of horsepower, he's got every component on his car that you have on yours. So there's no difference. If you're racing another driver, say you're driving a Chevrolet as Larson was, and you're racing one of the Fords or Toyotas, you know that there might be something a little different to where you might have a little bit of an advantage there. But when you're racing a teammate, you can throw that out the window. You got to figure something else out.
Cliff Daniels told me that he told Kyle Larson Saturday night after the race that was a masterclass in patience behind him.
Oh, yeah.
And Kyle said, I was getting impatient, but I knew I couldn't let myself go there. And he said something interesting to me, DJ. He said, that's our next level of maturation for Kyle. I was impressed because he could have forced the issue numerous times and didn't do it. So talk about what that patience required for a championship level driver to maybe not make the move when you think you can make the move.
Well, I think the biggest thing that he has in the bank are those wins and all the good runs.
That helps.
That helps patience a lot right there. You
right.
can be a lot more patient in that situation, understanding that it's not a must. And he knew that
it was a
even if he
teammate.
didn't, and if he didn't get it done, he's got another race the next day. So there's so many things to the doubleheader side of it. But I will say that Kyle Larson, I think, he wanted to win that race. He knew what was on the line. That was going to be 4 in a row. Not many people have done that. So you could tell that there were a couple of times that he wanted to push the issue, but he didn't. I was really impressed with the patience that he showed, because if we have another caution, then he knows he's basically going to have to line up behind Alex Bowman instead of taking that inside.
So 3 years ago, I don't know that Kyle Larson exhibits that patience.
Yeah.
To me, the weakness of Kyle Larson 3 or 4 years ago was the ability to close the deal, and now he's gone past that. I mean, now he's gone past that. There's a lot of drivers, there's a lot of drivers that can go fast, right? A 400 or 500 mile race is more than just making lap time. It's about managing the event. You have to manage the entire day, and I think it's fair to say there's very few people that can go really, really fast and manage all those things. Yeah. And our sport is full of people that can go fast but can't manage. They can manage but can't go fast. It's only very few that can do both. And I think Larson now has moved himself into that group that can do both. It's very difficult to do both. I never could do both. I couldn't. And it's just how it was. Jeff Gordon could do it better. Jimmy Johnson could do it. There's people that could do it better. But Kyle Larson has moved into that group that can do both.
Let's unpack the Larson tire thing just real quick before we move to Sunday. You know, the speculation in the garage on Sunday morning was that, oh, he's running way too low on the racetrack. They went way too low on air pressures. Cliff Daniels told me exact same air pressures as the run before. I asked Kyle Larson straight out, do you think you were running too low? He said, nope, I wasn't running any lower than anyone else. He was clearly, though, a car length, you know, almost a full car width lower than Bowman on entry into every corner. Would that have been a factor, Jeff?
So yes, it could have been a factor. It definitely could have been a factor. And you hurt the tire early in the run.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you go back and remember the race, they would happen early in the run, the first 4 or 5 laps. That's when you hurt the tire. Once the air pressure gets up, you're not going to hurt the tire. It would be pure speculation to say they hurt the tire early in the run, running the bottom. It would be pure speculation. But it's possible. It's certainly possible. It's one of those racetracks that we've seen left front tire failures because of camber, low air pressure, and those bumps.
To get back to the winner, is there any team flying more below the radar than the 48, sitting there with 3 wins? And it seems like nobody's even talking about them as a team that could possibly be in Phoenix in the championship 4.
I know, yeah, because every time that you start talking about how good Hendrick Motorsports is, you're really talking about the effort that Larson is putting there, how well the former champion or past champion, the current champion, and Chase Elliott, even though he didn't have a very good weekend this weekend, and William Byron running really well. You very seldom do we bring up Alex Bowman. Here he is with 3 wins. And I don't care how you get them. You know, he's gonna lose a race like that one day, and he's like, oh well, at least I had that one there.
Yeah,
so
right.
yes, he is someone that I think is showing that you might can look at a group of tracks that he's really good at, and maybe others that he needs to improve on, but you can say that about most out there.
And again, I know we've said this before on the show, and I know we're not supposed to repeat ourselves, but Rick Hendrick hired 3 young guys and gave them time to grow. And now he's sitting here with 4 winners that can be with him for a long time. They're all going to have to continue to improve. If you don't, they're not going to be good enough anymore. It's just how it is. But he has 4 drivers that have enough talent that show the willingness to improve, the willingness to be better. They seem to all get along. They're going to push each other. He could be set for drivers for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
But there was a price to pay for that.
Yep.
Yes.
And he paid that price, and now here he is sitting there with 4 winners. And that's really been part of the success of Hendrick. I mean, when we were racing against them, they had Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt Jr. I mean, think about it. I mean, you know what I mean? We used to laugh about how much money they made just on souvenirs, right? So that's been part of the success of Hendrick, is that success makes more success, and now he has 4 drivers that, you know, he can go a long way down the road.
I don't think the ECR Hendrick engine combination has hurt the field either. I think that's been the big kind of behind-the-scenes secret of what's going on with Chevrolet.
So, you know, we haven't been in the garage much, you know, for the last year and a half. Lately, been able to go in the garage, and the people that I go to whenever I'm in the garage, that was on everybody's mind.
Sure.
You know, look, they can make more downforce and get by with it because they have more power.
Right.
They don't pay the penalty of slowness down the straightaway because they have more power. That's what the garage thinks. Now, whether that's true or not, who knows? But that is what the majority of the garage thinks.
Let's move to race number 2. DJ, have you ever seen a car win a race with an obviously very talented driver with no clutch and stuck in high gear?
Not that I can remember. Not that I can remember. I've you know,
of all the scenarios,
we've all probably driven in a situation like that, but I know I didn't win any races like that for sure. I wasn't nearly good enough to do that. But that just fascinated me that when Kyle Busch when y'all started talking about him being in the mix there with that group that were saving fuel, I'm like, how did this even happen? You know, he could barely get off of pit road with all of this, and just phenomenal that he was able to do that. Didn't hurt that he had an extra lap of fuel on everybody too.
Well, it started here, right?
Yes.
So you got to beat the pace car to the line because of where he was pitted. And he beat him to the line, but he was going so slow they all flew by him. But he beat him to the line, and then look where he leaves. This to me is fascinating. This is him coming. They're dropping the green. Denny Hamlin is in 16th. Okay? He eventually gets to Denny Hamlin.
Yeah.
His car was fast enough.
Yeah.
And how much fuel was he burning to get to Denny Hamlin? to ultimately run them out of fuel. That's really what they did.
That's what he did.
exactly.
He went sooner than the 11 wanted to go, but I felt like the 11 felt like they didn't have a choice. We've got to go. This is the race for the win.
Yeah, if the 18 gets in front of us, we're over. So,
Right.
so the 18's like, go. And as soon as he went, the game over for everybody else. You're either going to have enough fuel or you're not. And so Kyle Busch did an incredible job of working himself through the traffic, getting to them. Look how far behind he was.
Yeah.
And he got to them. And so that got a little bit lost during honestly, I was watching it and just didn't explain it, and I wish I had have. But that kind of got lost to, how he worked himself through the field, because he did a masterful job of getting to those guys. And then, you got to give him a ton of credit for that. I mean, he had a fast. He had the fast. They had the best car.
They had a good car.
They had
Yeah,
the best
sure
car. There's
did.
no question. And he did what he had to get it there.
Yeah. And I would say, too, I would argue that being that far behind, going through that traffic probably helped him fuel mileage as well, right? I mean,
Well, it
you're
doesn't hurt in that
Yeah.
because he knew, he understood. I think they had a plan from the beginning as the only way that they could salvage a good finish was going to be to try to finish that race with that tank of fuel. And so then Kyle got himself in the right position with a group of cars that was doing the same thing, but he's in the middle of this, as Denny was too. So they were both doing a good job, but then he forced Denny's hand.
I don't know. On that pit stop, he did say, should we just pack up and go home?
Right.
He literally said, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Why are we running here? This is ridiculous. We're never going to finish the race. It didn't even dawn on him they could possibly win the thing.
So I'm looking out of the booth, right, and
Yeah.
they're coming to one to go. I know they're coming to one to go, and here he is coming down pit road. And we have a button that we can push and just talk amongst the guys in the booth. And I said, that is a bold call.
Yeah.
Bringing a guy down pit road with one to go with only fourth gear. And then you reported and said they had to put the shifter boot back in,
Right.
back on, right? So I'm like, oh, okay, they made him come back down pit road. In a crazy way, that saved them.
That's what got them the advantage
So-
of the fuel.
And on top of that, remember on Saturday, who did they penalize for laying back on the restart?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
So they weren't going to let Kyle Busch lay back on the restart and get a run. He only was allowed to do this because he wasn't laying back. It's just
Yeah.
he had to come to pit road to serve a penalty. So if he starts at the back of this line and they all accelerate, he's losing momentum as they go down the front
Terrific
straightaway,
point.
and he's not getting to Denny Hamlin. So the penalty,
Having the running start,
yes, the penalty actually helped him win the race. I mean,
it gave him the fuel and gave him the momentum he
correct,
needed.
correct. NASCAR would not allow him to do that.
Right.
Good.
But there's nothing to penalize when you're coming off pit road. So all that actually ended up working out for him.
Worked out perfectly.
Sometimes it's
who
your
knew a
day.
NASCAR penalty would work out perfectly to give a guy a win, right? Let's talk about William Byron real quick. Is that an example of he and Rudy Fugle needing to work together in that scenario a little bit more, because he was burning a ton of fuel and like, this is great, but he should have let him know on lap one of that run, you got to start saving now.
He should have, but all of his teammates ran out too.
Yeah.
So and
Well, no, Kyle Larson didn't.
fair. Okay. So here's
But he
the way
slowed down a ton.
He slowed down a ton,
Which
and
William Byron
told him
could
to
have done
run in that
instead of-
line behind the one that was pulling everybody.
Yeah, instead of building up 12 seconds, he could have been saving in there.
So here's what I think. I think Rudy and them said we can't make it.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah.
And then he goes, and then Rudy says, well, there's no harm here in seeing if he can slow down enough to make it.
Yeah.
I think that was I'm assuming that was the determination. Look, we can't make it, just go. And then he looked up, recognized the situation, other people could make it. Well, heck, let's see what would happen. Let's see if he could make it. That's the only thing I can assume. I know it's all the same stuff, but different drivers get different fuel mileage.
Sure.
Yes.
So maybe their fuel mileage wasn't as good as their teammates. I mean, it's been like that forever. Just because you drive a Hendrick car with a Hendrick motor, you get this X amount of gas mileage. That's not true. Different driving styles take different amount of fuel mileage. So maybe his fuel mileage wasn't as good as the teammates.
Yeah, and that horsepower that you were just talking about a little while ago that they have, that everybody thinks that takes fuel to make that
Of
horsepower.
course, yeah.
I know that well from Robert and Doug Yates for a lot of years. We
lived that.
won one race where fuel came into play, and that was
Yeah.
Dover, Delaware. So
Wasn't it Robert that said you got to feed those ponies?
that's exactly
Wasn't
right.
that
You gotta feed those ponies.
That's a good point. Real quick, I do want to give a shout out to Bubba Wallace. Top 5 for that race team with Michael Jordan in the house all weekend long, Saturday and Sunday. Much needed, well-timed top 5 for them, DJ.
Yeah, there's no doubt that this team needed something good to happen. However, they had to go about getting it. You know, there were a lot of circumstances. Yeah, he didn't run in the top 5 all day, but it was a solid day for them. They ran much better. It just shows that with a day before of running and what you would consider practice, that they came out and performed better on the second day of it. So that's what a team, especially a new team like this, and a driver in a new situation needs more of that. So good for them. Hopefully they can build on this.
He needs this.
You can almost see the relief from him right there.
A lot of pressure, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
seriously, there's a lot of pressure, a lot of eyeballs on him. It just is, and it's a lot. So having the opportunity to say, "Hey, we can do this," and that's good for you as a person. I don't care what anybody says. You feel that pressure. You feel those eyeballs. There's a lot on his shoulders, and he needed a good finish, not just a good day, a good finish.
No doubt about it, and you could see that pressure released from Bubba Wallace after the race. Michael Jordan around as well, so it always is good when you run well in front of the boss. Hey, speaking of a guy who ran well this past weekend, Michael McDowell led for a little bit yesterday. He's going to join us here next on Motormouths. There's McDowell. What's up, Michael? We'll talk to you here in a second, here on NASCAR America Motormouths. Hey guys, it was nice to see Michael McDowell running up front. Led 7 laps, DJ, on Sunday, 2 top 20 finishes, and good to see that car up front.
Yeah, it really is. I know that had to give them a lot more confidence at a track like this, a very difficult track, to get themselves in position and be out front. Get a little time for their sponsors.
There you go. It's nice to have that with Martin Truex Jr. behind him, and Michael McDowell joins us now here on NASCAR America Motormouths. So how would you assess the weekend, especially Sunday with those laps up front, Michael?
Yeah, it was a good weekend. It was a solid weekend. I think we had high expectations. Last year we were able to get a top 10 at Pocono, so we felt like our package was pretty good, coming back there. And with the doubleheader, not having a practice, we felt like we had a good baseline. But, all in all, it was a good weekend. We led both days, scored some stage points, top 20. So it's not a whole lot to be upset about, but, you always want more, and felt like we had a car that was capable of doing it. And had brand new partners this weekend with Horizon Hobby and Armor RC cars on there. So it was good that we got out front and got some TV time and had a fast car, but we were hoping to finish there in the top 10.
So, Michael, I'm gonna move you forward. I want to get your perspective of Road America. I've never been there before. I know DJ's called some races there, but I want you to give us the inside story about how you are going to make it happen this weekend at Road America.
Yeah, Road America is an amazing road course. It's a long road course. Over 4 miles long. It's got high speed. Long straightaways, hard braking, but it also has tight, twisty, technical. So it has a little bit of everything that you would want in a road course. Elevation changes, and it's challenging. There's not a lot of room for error there. There's not a lot of runoff, and especially in the high speed areas. But there's opportunity to challenge yourself and to really push your car and push yourself to find speed. And you really have to put it right on the edge, similar to Watkins Glen up through the S's and things like that, where you're just right on the limit. So it takes a fine balance, like most road courses, where you got to be pushing hard, but you can't overstep it. But it's just a track that I've always loved, even before getting into NASCAR and open wheel and sports cars. I've had some success there and always enjoy going to Road America, especially this time of year.
Yeah, so we're showing your race win there, so you do know a lot about that, and I think that's why Jeff asked that question, and going to look forward to that. My question is, how much fun is it to now watch all of these guys battling around that 16th playoff spot, and you're sitting there locked in? You haven't been in this position. This has to be fun.
Yeah, it has been fun, and I think that, it's allowed us to just enjoy it a little bit more. You're always trying to get the best result every weekend that you can, but it's allowed us to be, just a little bit more aggressive with strategy, try some different things. We've definitely been pushing hard to get stage wins if we can, just to try to get as many points as we can for the playoffs. So hopefully we can put ourselves in position to do that. But this is one of those racetracks that we circled at the beginning of the year that we thought we'd have a shot at winning. And obviously getting the win at Daytona was awesome and got us a great head start for the season. But, I still feel like we have a lot to prove and feel like we have an opportunity to do that.
Michael, NASCAR has called in with a question for you. Go ahead, NASCAR.
Hey, Michael, congratulations once again on the 500. As a lifelong NASCAR fan, obviously Daytona, what it did for your career. But this year, it just seems like you're more competitive. We're seeing you up there battling with the guys more. Do you feel that's a fair assessment? And how would you assess your season? And to me, it just seems like than years past, this has been the best you've ran.
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate that, Carl. We have. This has definitely been our best year at Front Row. The win, like I said, obviously kicked everything off in a great direction and was huge. But, just being able to be in that top 10 and top 15 and to be there competitively week in and week out is a real big accomplishment for us. And we've made huge gains and feel like, not that we're a contender for the win every single weekend, but we are definitely in the mix a lot more than we've ever been. And so it's been an exciting year. It's been fun. Even you look at this past weekend at Pocono and, we kind of feel like it was a bad weekend with two top 20s and leading laps and getting stage points. So I think we've come a long way as a race team. And, as you get better and more competitive, the goals and objectives kind of move up with it. So, but yeah, it's been a great year and we're really proud of where we are and where we're going.
Hey, Michael, I know with 3 road courses in the next 5 races, you're excited about that after leading the laps at Pocono. But how much are you guys preparing for the playoffs versus worried about the regular season right now? Maybe we lost Michael. His video was freezing up there. Michael, you got us, bud?
He didn't like your question.
Or maybe I know. Maybe he was very upset about my question. But that's a legit question for a small-time team, And then you have the next-gen car coming as well. So it's like, how much do you spend worrying about the regular season versus playoffs versus worrying about 2022?
And listen, I think that team, what that team is smart to do is focus on the super speedway races. Michael's really good at that. Focus on the road course races. He's really good at that, right? And then that extra bump that they got from winning the Daytona 500, hopefully they've been able to have some more finances to also step up all their other games. Yes. He's going to compete at Talladega. He's going to compete at the Roval. He's going to be able to get his job done there. Can his equipment take him to other places? I think he can carry them in those races. Can his equipment help him in those other ones? I think that's the question.
Yeah. So, Michael, I think you're back with us, correct? We have video and audio now. Yes, there you go. That's all right. No. So the question was, how much are you guys worried about the playoffs versus kind of focusing on the regular season? I know these next 3 road course races, very important to your team.
Yeah, we're focused on these next few road courses for sure because they're opportunities for us. And that's the one thing that we've done really well this year is capitalize on those opportunities. Like Jeff was just talking about, the road courses and the super speedways, not just Daytona, but Talladega, running third there and having top 10s at the other road courses. These races we have to make count. And we know that. So that's very important the next few weeks. And, even though we're locked in, I really have set a goal to be in the top 15, 16 in points, heading into the playoffs. I know it doesn't matter, but to me it does, knowing that we would have made it legitimately on points too. So we have a little battle inside of our own battle. But, we are looking forward to the playoffs. We know that first round is going to be very, very challenging for us, just not our strengths. So we're working really hard on building new cars and trying to do as much as we can with simulation and with our partners and with our alliance with Roush Fenway. So we're definitely getting prepared, but these next few weeks are important to us.
Hey, Michael, you and the rest of the drivers spent an entire year basically in 2020 of racing in front of no fans or very few. How how gratifying is it now to go to the racetrack, see these stands filled? Nashville last weekend was amazing. Pocono, the site there with all the campers and fans was incredible. Has to be good, and especially getting their accolades now and to be able to enjoy what you've been able to accomplish.
Yeah, it's been awesome. Like you said, it feels like we're getting back to normal and having fans there. It definitely changes the routine. You get used to just showing up and walking to your car. And I had to leave, 20 minutes early for intros to sign autographs this weekend, which was nice. And it's just great to see everybody out there and really bigger turnouts than we've, even seen in the past. So it's great to have our fans back. And like you said, to celebrate that victory, everywhere we go, people are still talking about the 500. So that's fun to, to sign autographs and interact with the fans and kind of celebrate with them too.
Michael, you got a text message right there, so just want to make sure you saw that as it popped on the screen. So, hey, you get extra credit, by the way, for dialing back in. We appreciate the effort. Good to see you this weekend. We'll see you in Road America, okay?
All right, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
All right, Michael McDowell's got some text to answer, so, I saw it pop up there. I thought I'd make sure you saw it, right, Jeff?
Don't miss your text.
Just trying to help. Hey, when we come back, super sub Justin Allgaier, he'll join us. He had a doubleheader Sunday at Pocono. He'll be here next on Motormouths. An unexpectedly busy Sunday for Justin Allgaier. He finished third in the Xfinity Series race. And then when that finished, he had to hop out, and then they said, hey, can you come and drive the Cup car, Jeff, for the 77 after the big accident with Justin Haley.
I didn't know that he could fit in Justin Haley's seat. He seems like
he said it fit perfect. I was standing there, he goes, it's great. I'm
yeah.
like, wow. I mean, that doesn't happen very often, does it? Like, where you're like, that feels great. So, Justin Allgaier joining us here on Motormouths. How you doing, man? And what a busy Sunday for you.
Well, to answer part of that real quick, I was really surprised I fit in his seat as well because he's a lot skinnier than I am. So I was not really sure. But I feel like, Jeff and Dale, you guys have both probably driven some race cars in your day that didn't fit quite as well as you thought they were going to, but you did it anyways because that was what you needed to do. And I think that's what the case was yesterday. You go out there and make the most of a bad situation. Obviously, didn't want to see Justin not be able to race the race, but in that moment, filling in was great and had a great day and a long day, but a great day.
Yeah, that was good. A nice fit for that. I think being 6'2", there wasn't many opportunities to get in somebody's car. I got in for Michael Waltrip one time, and I actually had more room than I even knew you could get in these cars. Michael's 6'5", so that was good. Great job over the weekend, and your Xfinity program really looks to be solid right now. You and Jason Burdett are really putting things together here, as you have for a long period of time. I know that as I ask what you need to do as far as getting yourself playoff ready, probably figure out a little bit more speed occasionally against that 22 car?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting yesterday. It's super different to be on a doubleheader weekend and having the Truck Series race before the Cup Series, and then obviously we go after the first Cup race. And I thought that I thought that there were a few teams that probably had a little more information than we had as far as what we needed to do to be a little bit better for yesterday's race. But as a whole, I think we've done a great job as a company of making the most of our situation. We're still, I think a lot of people forget how small our team really is in comparison to a lot of the other teams that we're racing against. And so, they did a great job. Obviously, we had a beautiful Hellman's Camaro there you see in the video, but, we felt like for us, we felt like we had a really good car, a car that could be capable of winning the race maybe. And one of those restarts, we got some damage from one of the cars we were going around, and I felt like that was the difference maker. It actually broke the nose and moved the nose outside of the splitter on the left front there and really damaged that whole corner of the car, and I felt like that was kind of the difference maker for us. But all in all, we've had 2 seconds and a third these last couple of weeks, and I think six out of the last 8 maybe have been top 5s or top 10. So we've steadily gotten our program better. Jason Burdett obviously and I get along great, and our whole 7 team really gels well. But as a whole, our entire team at Junior Motorsports, just the quality of cars they're building right now and the effort that they're putting in, what Chevrolet's doing, what the Hendrick Engine Shop's doing, it all makes a big difference. And you're battling in a game of inches and not yards in this NASCAR Xfinity Series. We've got some great competitors, and we're trying to make the most of it. Came up a little bit short the last few weeks, but it's not for lack of effort, and we'll keep trying to make it work.
Justin, I asked Michael McDowell the same thing. You've raced at Road America a great deal in the Xfinity Series. Tell us about the racetrack. Where do you think the most important parts of the track coming up this weekend are?
Well, I'm excited to get the Cup Series cars there first and foremost. I think it's going to be a fantastic event. 4th of July weekend. I mean, it has all the makings of kind of being a marquee event for the year, but I think, going on into the future. But, for me, I think a couple of things come to mind. One of the biggest things about Road America that we don't talk about a lot, but is the distance. It's over 4 miles a lap, so your caution flag laps are extremely long. Great opportunities to save fuel in a caution. So if you do end up with a caution race, which we all hope not to, there is that possibility of saving some fuel, changing the strategy a lot. But then there's also a really good mix of heavy braking zones, lots of elevation change, and some really technical corners after those heavy braking zones, some slow speed corners. And then you get to the back straightaway and you got the kink, which I feel like the kink is that's kind of one of those corners where you just look at it and you go, there is no way I'm going to go as fast as I need to get through that corner and make it out the other side. And sometimes you don't. We've seen that in the Xfinity Series. Guys get a little bit too brave. They get off in the grass just a little bit, and from there it's just a calamity. So I think that the braking zones are going to be the most important piece, though. Maximizing your braking all day, not wearing your brakes out. And if you can do that, you're going to have a great opportunity at going to victory lane.
Justin, we're going to go to the phones. Marvin has called in with a question for you. Marvin, go ahead. You're on with Justin Allgaier.
How you doing, Justin?
I'm good, Marvin. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well, man. You did a great job on Sunday in that Xfinity race at Pocono. You drove the wheels off that 7 machine.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So, Justin, my question for you is, we're heading to one of me and my dad's favorite road courses, Road America, and I want to know how fast of a car you're going to have on Saturday to get you a victory for Junior Motorsports.
Well, it's going to need to be really fast because we're going to have some really good racers in that race. Going along with the normal few that we race with on the Xfinity Series side. I know there's some other guys that are going to come in and run with us that obviously will be super fast as well. So this is a fun racetrack. Like I said a minute ago, I think it's one of my favorite racetracks on the schedule and going to be a marquee event for the Cup Series. I have no doubt. But I think the key for us is just doing what we know how to do, executing the race the best we know how. I love that shot right there, being able to hug my wife and my daughter going to victory lane there. But just executing the race. And that's something that we've done really well these last handful of weeks. We've executed, maybe even when we didn't have the fastest cars, we've been able to execute. And I think that's going to be the difference maker to me at Road America is the team that executes the best, that has 4 fenders and just has brakes, has all the things you need when the race comes to an end. I think is going to be the team that goes to victory lane, and hopefully we can keep the momentum going and do that.
I want to talk family in a second, but first I want to talk to you about, coming up we have this Olympic break, which is going to be unique, 2 weeks off. Did you guys set goals before the season to say, hey, when we get to that point in the season, it's a nice break point with some regular season races left before the playoffs start? Did you set goals, say, hey, here's where we need to be at that point in the year?
No, I don't think so, because I think that it's hard to adapt mid-season, right? I think sometimes if you're off, you're almost better to take little swings at it than to get some time off and to try and reinvent the wheel, right? If things are going good and everything's working well, you don't want those weeks off. But I really believe that if you're going to have to utilize these 2 weeks well, because we don't get a lot of breaks in our series. So to have those two-week break is going to be very interesting. Obviously, I'm excited for the Olympics, but it does change our schedule and the feel of our schedule. So, I'm very curious to see how that's going to play out. But I think for us, we've been doing a good job, and we need to take those 2 weeks and just kind of mend the fences, if you will, and make sure that all of our I's are dotted and our T's are crossed, and get ourselves ready for that push for the playoffs. I think that's going to be the most important piece, is being ready when those playoffs start.
We saw the great shot of you and Ashley and Harper. Since then, little Willow has come into the mix, and I saw you carrying her coming into the garage yesterday. How's life at the Allgaier house? Are you guys getting any sleep these days?
No sleep. Unfortunately, no sleep. No, she's been a great child. Obviously, couldn't ask for anything more than to have 2 healthy kids. Harper has been an absolute sweetheart with helping us with Willow. She's been like a little mom. You see right there, she does have a broken arm. Unfortunately, she started cheerleading, and week 2, she took a tumble off the top of the pile and broke an arm. So that slowed her down just a little bit. But my wife's a rock star, and being able to travel and help me with the racing side of things, but then also to take care of the kids when I'm in the race car, not being able to be around. It's been a little bit crazy and hectic, but she's a rock star and got a beautiful family. So no complaints on my end. Trust me, it's been an absolute blast, and looking forward to watching both of them grow up.
You're a blessed man. Always good to see the family at the racetrack, and good to see you in a doubleheader this past weekend. And nice finish on Sunday in the Cup race too. By the way, that was fun to watch. I didn't think 25th. That's a good finish for that car, Justin.
Yeah, obviously not the ideal situation filling in a last-minute situation like that with Justin Haley. So first of all, I was happy to see that Justin was okay after that wreck. I mean, that was a heavy hit. I talked to Justin actually this morning, and we talked about it again on post-race. And, don't want to have those situations, but obviously in those moments, being able to fit in the seat, I didn't think that was going to happen, like I said. So, I thought that it was good to be able to fit in the seat, good to be able to go out there and do it. And, hats off to the Spire Motorsports guys. That was a fun car to drive. Kevin Bellicourt and that whole team on the 77, they do a great job. And it was good to get back in the Cup Series and be able to make some laps. But, huge thanks to NASCAR as well and all the safety partners, because that hit was truly incredible and something that we don't ever want to see. But when you do have those, to watch a driver walk away is really cool.
Yeah, we're glad to hear that he's okay and going to be with us at Road America this weekend, obviously, as will you. And we'll see you up there. How about that?
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. We'll see you there.
All right, Justin Allgaier joining us here. And, that's a tough situation, Jeff. I don't care if you've never been in a race car to go out there and, A, fit in the car, but then B, run it well. I mean, it's not an easy situation to be in.
No, it's not. But he's the right guy.
Yeah.
I mean, Justin's got the experience. He has a lot of respect in the garage. He does a really good job on Saturdays. Does really good when he ran several years in Cup. So he's the right guy for the job. Understands where that team is, knows what the goal is, and goes and executes. I mean, perfect pick.
Yeah, and I hate to put this on because it's not a fair thing to say about it, but he's kind of become the super sub. But he's so much more than that, because we're talking about a very talented driver. Just so impressed with him. Good person, good family man. Just so much good about Justin Allgaier and all the things that he does with the sport. And he, as you said, he's the perfect person to jump in there because he understands what to do. And I'm going to say this about the weekend because he brought it up. He used the term. And so for all of those people, I know it's a holiday weekend, July 4th weekend, so there might be a few drinking games going on. Kink is going to be the kink. The kink.
Oh, yeah, the kink in that,
because every driver that y'all talk
would
to,
be it.
Yeah, I think the kink, that gets their attention. Every driver I've ever talked to, that's one of the first things they talk about.
I can influence this game, right?
You can shuttle you a little money. Do you ever fill in for anyone, by the way, in your career? Did you have to fill in for a driver?
Yeah, there was a couple. I did. Michael Waltrip was the first one that I did at Bristol. He was under the weather, and I was driving for the Wood Brothers, and he unfortunately needed to get out of the car, and we had blown up. And so I got in there, and gosh, that is just so different about, because we all, we talk about, we look for different things in the car as far as the way they drive. The things that you want as far as driver comfort are so different too. I can remember Michael's steering wheel was way up here, and it was like, holy cow, how am I going to, and I had to drive like 300 laps. But
Same
anyway,
for you. Do you fill in for someone?
I filled in for Hutch Strickland, and actually it was the first race I ever ran in Cup. Was in New Hampshire. I wrecked like on lap 3, cleaned out 2 or 3 cars with me, and my first race, making a good impression.
Like that.
And Hutch Strickland got sick in the race, and I got in. I drove my first Cup race, wrecked in like lap 3, drove for Junior Johnson all on the same day. Hell of a day.
That's a good point by you.
That's a good plan.
That's good stuff. Good stories from you guys. Hey, when we come back, Harrison Burton will be joining us here on NASCAR America Motormouths. We'll talk a little Pocono and Road America as well. Back with NASCAR America Motormouths, Harrison Burton joining us here on the show. And Harrison, listen, I'm not a member of the Burton family, but I know the rules. 24 hours, good or bad, you got to move on. So I'm assuming you've moved on from Pocono already because it's Monday and that was yesterday.
I guess so. It's always, it's hard to move on, right? It's, you look back at a race like Pocono for us, and we're really fast. Obviously, won the first stage, and I felt like we got tremendously better in the second stage. So to wreck and lose the chance to win that race really sucks. But I just made a mistake. I got in there, tried to make an aggressive pass on the 7. I thought I was clear, and it's hard for the spotters to see down in turn 1, and I kind of had to use my own judgment, and I made the wrong call, and that's racing, right? So, by the time he was beside me like that, I was already heading up the racetrack and gonna wreck, if he got beside me, and he was. So that's part of racing. I'll move on and try and be better from it. That's the biggest thing.
Well, don't feel so bad. You did something that we've all done, and you will probably do it again from that. But when you have fast cars, that's usually when things like that happen. That's what I want to talk about. It seems like your cars, that you're starting to show some more speed here with recent races that I've watched. So that has to be encouraging for you.
Yeah, it is. We've been close a few times. I think back to Phoenix this year earlier was a great speed race for us, a race where I made an error and then we got behind on a set of tires. Look at Darlington as a place that we were really close, probably one change away from winning. Homestead, I felt like we fired off pretty good and blew a motor. So there's been some places that it's like, gosh, we had all the pieces to the puzzle there. Just need to find a way to put them together. And I know we can do it. That's the biggest thing is, I've won races. My crew chief, Jason Ratcliffe, has won races. Every single guy on my race team has won races. So we all know we can do it. Now it's just about going and doing it, and we can't panic, right? We've got a great opportunity. The next few races are good tracks for me. I feel like I'm excited to go to Road America as one of my better road courses. In Atlanta, I feel like we ran well there earlier this year. We're a team that's capable of winning at any time, and we just got to go do it. And once we do, I think the floodgates will open. We'll see them.
Harrison, I believe we have a call from someone who's called in and has a question for you. Go ahead, hit caller. You're on the line with Harrison Burton.
Hello, Harrison. How you doing?
Hey, good, man. How are you?
I'm really good. So, Harrison, earlier this year in the Cup Series, you made your NASCAR Cup Series debut at Talladega, and you finished 20th. Is there a possibility that you might come to Daytona later in the Cup Series and race?
That's a good question. I don't know. I've got nothing on the plans right now. My biggest focus is in the Xfinity Series and trying to get those wins I was just talking about. But the Talladega race happened very last minute, probably 3 or 4 weeks before the race started is when I kind of knew it was going to happen, not really sure. So, if an opportunity arises, I'll be sure to jump on it. You kind of have to be available for those. And if you can get a chance to kind of make a name for yourself, you got to do it, right? So, I don't have anything on the table right now, but I'm not afraid to accept an offer if it comes. But, it's just all about the Xfinity Series right now for me, which is a place that I'm really enjoying myself and a place where I feel like, my focus should be. And that's really all I'm worried about.
Hey, Harrison, can you help me out here? Your dad's never been to Road America. I know you just said it's your favorite road course. Can you give him a preview of what we're going to expect this weekend so he'll be ready in the booth to call the action?
Yeah, it's tough. The biggest thing about Road America is it's a high-speed place with a lot of braking zones, right? So there's a lot of chances to lock up a left front tire, wheel hop, things like that. Especially turn 5 is a downhill braking zone. And then there's the kink, which is, on the backstretch there. Super fast corner, really on the edge of grip, especially in the Xfinity cars. You're, just off throttle, trying to get as soon as you can. It feels a lot like the tunnel turn, but you're hanging a right. So, it's a tough place, but that's what makes it so neat is there's so many different corners and you can really attack there. So the racing's normally fantastic and crazy. I know at the end of last year's race, I passed from 16th to 5th or something, and then found my way getting booted onto the grass in the last corner. So that's Road America for sure.
Harrison, you're the only guy that's going to come on this show that I can say this to. I need some help cutting the grass. I'll see you in the morning.
You can ask Jeb. You know, you didn't have to go right to me. You could have asked Jeb first. But
no, Jeb can give me an answer that you can't. So that's why I asked you, not Jeb.
I guess what you're doing tonight, Harrison.
I got to do it then, right?
You're cutting the grass. And maybe you can get your sister to help you as well. So good seeing you, buddy. We'll see you.
She's pretty handy. She's good in the outdoors, so she might.
Yeah,
she might
is.
Yeah.
Right. Trust me. Yeah, she helps out at our house. So, all right. Good seeing you, bud. We'll see you in Wisconsin. Thanks, buddy. Good luck.
Absolutely. See y'all there. Thank you. It's always fun.
Yeah. Always good talking to your son, Jeff. I know you didn't want to really, you never. It's odd to interview your son. But
Well, I mean, look, it's part of the deal, right?
Right. Yeah.
It's interesting to me for any young driver, not just him. You know, he's had three of the last 4 races have ended badly. They've run well in all 3 of them, but they've all ended badly. So how do you deal with that as a young driver or an experienced driver?
Well, what advice do
how
you
do you
give
deal
them?
with that?
You're the guy.
So,
yeah.
listen, I think you have to analyze each wreck for what they are, right? And what happened? How did it happen? What did you do wrong? And analyze them and change, improve in that area. But it's interesting to me to see, like, what is he going to do the next 3 weeks, right before the Olympic break? What is he going to do? Do you push too hard? Like, this is not just for my son, for any driver, right?
Yeah.
How do you respond to those things? And it's going to be interesting to see the weeks that he has coming up.
This is the other side of the Burton 24-hour rule, right? Don't celebrate for more than 24 hours and don't get down for more than 24 hours. So, hey, I don't want to get out of here without talking about the cut line in the Cup Series, which is just on fire lately, Jeff. I'm telling you what, this is going to be crazy to watch over the next 7 races.
Yeah, it really is. Kurt Busch, has done a really good job. Tyler Reddick, he drives on the edge all the time. Suarez and his team, they're coming on quick. This isn't over. It's going to get on. I think it's going to get even more competitive. They're going to be terrified to make a mistake. And you're going to Road America, a place where all the drivers we just talked to are really hard. So a lot of pressure on these drivers coming up the next few weeks.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, Kurt Busch has made an amazing move forward. Just really good driving. I thought he was set up there saving that fuel yesterday a little bit.
He thought he was set up.
Yeah, that might get him a bigger gap right there. But this is going to be really fun for us, intense for those drivers, but fun for us. Don't take your eye off Daniel Suarez of finding his way in there. He's getting more and more consistent with them each and every week. That's a good race team for a first-year team.
And with 3 road courses in the next 5 races, that's going to be even better for Suarez, I would agree or argue. And the other one is the regular season point standings, which we all kind of thought Kyle Larson would immediately step up and take it over. He didn't, but boy, is that tight. And that's for, in essence, 3 race wins, Jeff. That's 15 points.
15 points is a ton. And quietly, look at William Byron. I mean, William Byron sitting there in 3rd.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about Alex Bowman. We talked about Kyle Larson. Quietly, there's William Byron sitting there in 3rd.
Real quick, DJ, I loved what you said about the fans, and they're saying we're going to have 100,000+ fans this weekend at Road America. I mean, the fans have been insane to watch. Like, it's been so cool to be around the sport.
I have been there. I think you've been there and done the race. But there's only one way in and one way out, so you better leave early. There's going to be a ton of fans there, and it's going to be a great weekend.
But it's so cool to see the fans back. I haven't seen this much excitement around NASCAR in a long time. Can't wait to get Road America this weekend. And I hope there are 100,000 fans there. We'll see you on Wednesday with Motormouths.